Okay, so today we are looking at the APA formatting style, and I'm going to go through PowerPoint that is done through Purdue OWL, and this is a great resource that you can access, and there's the links available on the course. But we'll go through this, and it will give you a good kind of starting point. So what is APA? APA stands for the American Psychological Association, and this style is most commonly used for any reports or manuscripts in the social science field. And it's updated regularly, so again that link will be provided, and that will be something valuable for you to take a look at. And it provides writers with a format so that you can cross-reference your sources, and everything is the same. So if somebody is looking to access your research, then they are able to find your resources and understand, because it's in APA formatting, where to look for that resource. And most importantly, by referencing whatever ideas you take, it helps you avoid plagiarism, because citing your sources properly shows that you are not plagiarizing, you're not assuming and taking credit for ideas that are not yours. You are giving proper credit where credit is due. So one thing that is important to know, that APA doesn't only cover referencing, it also has a format of writing, so point of view and voice, and how to reference different things within your writing when using APA formatting. So this is just some basics, personal pronouns and voices, for example using we instead of the authors, and using an active voice as we asked rather than we have been asked. So little tricks that are important for you to be aware of. Language in your paper should be clear and be very specific in what you're describing and how you're explaining what you're speaking about. Concise, so no run-on information, making sure that you are right, direct, and to the point. And using simple descriptive adjectives. Again, it's not an English paper, it is a social science report, and therefore sticking to these guidelines will help you be clear and concise, and staying away from things like metaphors and figurative language, which is more for creative writing, not social science reports. So there's different types of APA papers, and you will see several of these throughout this course. One is the literature review, and this summarizes literature on a topic that you are looking into. It includes a title page, introduction, and then a list of references. Then we have the experimental report, and this describes whatever experiment you're doing and the research behind it. This has a few more components to it. It has a title page, the abstract, introduction, methods, results, and discussion sections, a list of references, appendices, tables, as well as figures. Okay, so again, you can see just a couple of examples. If the paper that you are creating in this course or any other course moving forward, because this APA formatting will go through university in many cases, you just follow the general format, which will be outlined, and again that link will be helpful. And also consult with your instructor to make sure that you're very clear on the expectations, or look at the manual. So your essay should be typed, double-spaced, have 1-inch margins, and use 10 to 12, in our course usually 12-point standard font Times New Roman, and be printed on a standard size paper. Every page of your paper should have a title in the page header, which is also called the running head. and you can see it here in this example, as well as your page number in the upper right corner. Should be 4 major sections: title page, abstract, and in our course actually you'll see the example within the lesson shows the abstract and the key words are both on the title page. So your cover page includes all of your course information as well as your abstract as well as your keywords. So this is really important for us. And then your main body and your references. Okay, so here's an example of the title page, and again in our course it would also include the abstract underneath those headings as well as the keywords. Here's the abstract here, and again centered in the middle of the page, and it's about 150 to 250 words. It's concise and very specific as to what you are trying to accomplish in your report. First text page will be number 2, not number 3, because we have everything on one page. Then make sure that the title is centered and everything is double spaced. Make sure the sources that you use within your research paper are cited, and that's covered in the upcoming sections as well. And you have your tables and figures in your appendixes. It's important to have your references, your reference page at the very end of your document, and you'll see the references title is not bolded or underlined. Making sure your references are listed in alphabetical order and double spaced. And you can see also here that the first line is flush with the margin and the second line is indented. When you're looking at the references specifically, having the author's last name first, followed by the initials, and capitalize the first word of a title and a subtitle. First word after a colon or a dash, and proper nouns, but you do not capitalize the first letter of the second word in a hyphenated compound word. Okay, so just a few basics. Making sure all major words in journal titles are capitalized, and italicize longer works such as books and journals. You do not need to italicize, underline, or put quotes around the titles of shorter works such as journal articles or essays. Okay, so this is a lot of information. Don't feel like you have to memorize it all right now. As I said, that link will give you all of this information. So when you're looking at what you have to reference, identify what it is that you are taking information from. Is it a book, web page? And then go to the link and try to mirror the example. So that means if you're looking at a book, go to the link, look for the example of a book, and try to do exactly what they did. The in-text citations you'll see here, so you're using last names, comma, the year, and then also if you have the page would be great. As you can see here, they have the page for one and not for the other. When you are quoting, introduce it with a single phrase and then put in the author's name and the year publication and the page number at the end. Don't repeat the information and keep it very brief. You don't want to have a great big long run-on quote. Just use it as is needed. Okay, even for a paraphrase, if you take any ideas from a source, it's important to give them credit. And you can see here it's the same referencing system here. If you use the author's name in the information that you're sharing, rather than put parentheses around it. You would put the date after as a kind of identification of where you got the information that you are citing a paraphrase within the text. And you can see here when you're including quotations, provide a page number after the quotation. So where exactly did you get it? According to feminist researchers Wright and Tate, with the year, quote, this is their quote, and then a page number in parentheses with a period. And here's some other examples. You can see here, according to Xavier 2008, and just a few other ways to introduce your quotations, again with the page numbers after. And then you can see here the signal verbs tell you that the quotation is coming up, and this is what this person said. So when it includes two or more people, make sure that they are both referenced in your parentheses, so that if the idea comes from two people or the book is in the same, they are the authors of the same book, that they also get credit. You can see here using and in between the author's names, and in parentheses using the and in the reference or in the citation in the symbol. So when you're writing, use the word. When you're using the parentheses, using the symbol. When you get to using more than 3 authors, you can identify them all when you're citing the first time, and then in subsequent citations you only need to put the first person's name et al. That will signal the reader that you are referencing the same people that you had earlier referenced earlier on in your writing. And with 6 or more, you always use the et al. Period. Okay, and that just means as well as the others. When it's an unknown author, making sure that you cite the first word of the title, because obviously you don't know the author. So that will help the reader, again, figure out what resource you're referring to when they look at the reference list. And you can see here titles, books and reports, you italicize, articles and chapters, you use quotations. If it's an organization, then mention the organization when you first talk about what you're discussing. And if the organization has a well-known abbreviation, then just put it in quotations, and then in the later citations you can use the short form, the acronym. So the example here is Food and Drug Administration, FDA. Later on you can use just the FDA. If you have authors that have the same last name, you can use first initials with last names instead of the other way around. And if you have 2 or more works with the same author, then you should use lowercase letters after the year to put the publication in order. Using interviews, letters, emails, etc., have the communicator's name and date of the communication, but do not include personal communication in the reference list. Okay, so you just use this format here, and again, all of this information is in the link that is provided within the course. So if you need to, you can watch the PowerPoint again, or you can just click on the link and search what you need to find. When citing an electronic document, cite as we've already discussed if possible, but if you are unable to locate any of the information, try and use paragraph rather than page because if it's electronic there may not be pages, but it may have 20 paragraphs, and you found whatever you have in paragraphs number 6. So here is a variety of headings that you can see, different APA headings: centered, boldface, uppercase, and lowercase. And you can see the different levels as well as how they're dealt with. So here's an example. You can see here methods level 1, site of study, participant population, teachers, students, and how they're each indented, how they're bolded. So you can see kind of how it appears, the title versus the first heading, second heading, third heading, and as you move into further headings, level 4 is italicized. So different ways to kind of differentiate the information that is being presented. In this one here, in tables, you can have a site note below the table. So if you can't put your information within the table, just make sure that you write that below. And you can see here, retrieved from is another method that you will use a great deal, I can guarantee, because the internet is a great place to find good information, also bad information, but making sure that you put in retrieved from along with the link that you got, but making sure you remove the hyperlink, and that will be stressed in the information you read in the course. So always take out the hyperlink when you're creating your reference page. So as you can see, there's many rules, and this can become a little bit overwhelming. Just remember that the most important thing is that if you're not sure, to use the resources that are provided for you. So there's this PowerPoint, there's the APA style guide, that's a quick reference, and there's also the OWL website. So just do your best to be consistent and use the feedback that's given to you when you go through the courses, the coursework, and yeah, communicate with the teacher if you have any questions. This is the end of our PowerPoint. Have a great day.